She was left broken at the station with her child, until the rancher promised, "I'll love you both." The small railway station on the edge of Wyoming was silent that late autumn afternoon. The wind whistled through broken slats of the wooden platform, carrying with it dust and the scent of pine from the nearby hills. A lone figure sat hunched on a bench, her dress torn at the hem, her shawl threadbare, and a baby bundled in her arms. Clara Hastings had once believed in promises. A man she had never met, who lived in the West, had written sweet letters after seeing her advertisement in a newspaper column for mail-order brides. She had been desperate, widowed too young, left with a child and no money, her parents dead, her future bleak. His words had seemed like hope. "I'll provide for you and your little one. We'll be a family. Just come." But when she arrived that morning, weary from the long train ride, she found nothing but an empty station and a note waiting with the station master. The letter was short and cruel. "Changed my mind. Don't bother coming. Won't marry a woman with a brat." Clara's heart broke into pieces. She had no money for the return fare, no relatives left to run to, and her body still ached from the long journey. She had hurt her ankle while stepping off the train, and now every step was agony. Worst of all, her baby whimpered from hunger, and she had only enough milk to soothe him for a little while longer. She sat there, staring at the ground, fighting tears. The other passengers had long since left, and now it was just her, abandoned, unwanted, forgotten. The rancher's arrival. Miles away, Daniel Cooper was finishing his errands in town. He was a rancher, broad-shouldered and quiet, a man who had worked the land since boyhood. He'd lost his wife 3 years ago to fever, and since then he had lived alone with his horses and cattle, trying to ignore the emptiness in his cabin each night. As he rode back toward the station road, intending to pick up a shipment of tools, he noticed something unusual: a woman sitting slumped on the bench, clutching a baby. At first he thought she was waiting for someone. But as he tied his horse and approached, he saw the exhaustion in her pale face, the swelling in her ankle, and the way she held her child like she was shielding him from the world. "Ma'am." His deep voice was gentle. "Are you all right?" Clara startled, looking up with wide blue eyes filled with fear and shame. She shook her head quickly, blinking back tears. "I'm fine," she whispered hoarsely. "Just waiting." Daniel studied her. Something in her tone told him she was not fine. He crouched down, his hat in his hands, speaking softly so as not to frighten her. "You've been sitting here for hours. Station master said the train's long gone. Who are you waiting for?" Her lips trembled. Finally, the truth spilled out. "No one's coming. He left me. He left us." She clutched her baby closer. "We have nowhere to go." A promise in the dust. Daniel felt something stir deep in his chest, a mix of anger at whoever had abandoned her and a fierce protectiveness he hadn't felt in years. He saw the tiny baby fussing, the small hands reaching for comfort. He saw Clara's exhaustion, her ankle swollen, her shawl too thin for the coming cold. Without thinking too much, he said the words that came from his heart. "Then come with me." Her head jerked up. "What?" "I've got a ranch not far from here. It's quiet, safe. You and your child don't belong on this bench in the cold. You need a roof, food, and rest." Clara's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were from disbelief. "Why would you help me? You don't even know me." Daniel looked at her steadily. "Because no woman and child should be left alone like this. I know what it feels like to lose someone. And I know what it means to need someone." He paused, then added in a voice rough with sincerity, "I'll give you love. Both of you." The baby whimpered again, and Clara hugged him close, her heart torn between fear and hope. Could she trust this man? She had been lied to before, tricked, cast aside. But something about Daniel's eyes, steady, kind, weathered by life, made her believe him. Slowly, she nodded. All right. Life at the ranch. The ride to Daniel's ranch was slow, for her ankle pained her, but he lifted her gently onto his horse, making sure the baby was safe in her arms. His strong frame surrounded her, and for the first time in months, Clara felt protected. The ranch house was modest but sturdy, smelling faintly of wood smoke and leather. He made her sit by the fire, propped her ankle, and handed her a warm meal. Over the next days, Clara began to see who Daniel truly was. He worked hard from dawn till dusk, but always made sure she had what she needed. He built a cradle for the baby out of spare wood. He fetched water, carried firewood, and never once looked at her with pity, only with quiet respect. Clara, in turn, helped where she could, mending clothes, cooking, keeping the cabin tidy. Slowly, warmth returned to her cheeks, and her laughter, soft, hesitant at first, filled the little home. Daniel found himself lingering near the fire at night, watching her rock her baby, his heart aching with a longing he thought he'd buried forever. He didn't just want to shelter them. He wanted them to stay. A new beginning. One evening, as snow began to fall outside, Clara sat by the fire with the baby asleep in her lap. Daniel entered, brushing snow from his coat, and paused, watching the scene before him. She looked up, smiling faintly. "You've done so much for us. I don't know how to thank you." Daniel stepped closer, his rough hands twisting his hat nervously. "Clara, you don't have to thank me. Having you here, it feels like home again." His voice dropped. "I meant what I said at the station. I'll love you both. If you'll let me." Her breath caught. No man had ever spoken such words to her, not with truth shining in his eyes. Slowly, carefully, she placed the baby in the cradle Daniel had built and stood. "I believe you," she whispered. Daniel reached for her hand, calloused fingers gentle around hers. And in that quiet cabin, with the snow falling softly outside, Clara felt her broken heart begin to mend. For the first time in years, she wasn't alone. She and her child had found more than shelter, they had found love.